G'day guys, Luke here. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are doing the Reptile update for May 2026, starting off with these two cheeky little war dragons. Now these are the Gibson war dragons. Their names are Tinsel and Bell. Two babies we kept back from the clutch we got this season. The pair of them are doing exceptionally well, eating food, and overall getting used to being handled already. Now they have pooped on me a couple of times, but that's normal. But they're not as skittish as what they're meant to be. So hopefully over time they get much better, and eventually when they're adults they will be pretty tame. Tinsel and Bell are currently housed in a 50 centimeter enclosure. In the enclosure I've got the sand as a substrate, a couple of hides, a bend vine, a bit of timber in there from the sit on, water bowl, backing, and their UVB. Housed on the same shelf as Tinsel and Bell, we do have a Sheer skink named Elizabeth. Now we'll skip over her setup only because we will see more Sheer skinks later in the video, who their setups are identical to hers. So you'll see Elizabeth in a moment. But the enclosure next to Elizabeth, her name is Sui. Now Sui is a sand swimmer. Now she is housed in a 50 centimeter enclosure. In her enclosure, I've got about 2 to 3 inches worth of sand for her to burrow into. A couple of proper hides, a bit of bark, fake plant, water bowl, and a backing. She also shares a heap pad with Elizabeth. Here she is in all her glory. Now with Sui here, I don't see her much because she is a nocturnal species, so I don't see her often. But when she does come out, she's very entertaining to watch because she is very good at hunting. Back over to Elizabeth. As you can see, she's perfectly fine, doing well. She is quite shy, so she doesn't come out often. So I was very lucky to see her out today when I was recording this part for the video. Down below that shelving unit, we do have a lowland blotched blue tongue named Blaine. Now Blaine here is a very shy little girl, very secretive, and she does get spooked quite easily, so she does retreat into her hides. But apart from that, she's doing well. She's currently housed in a 90 centimeter enclosure. In her enclosure, we've got the aspen bedding as a substrate, 2 hides, a backing, food bowl, water bowl. She has a heat pad underneath the left hand side hide, and then also her UVB light bar. Underneath Blaine, we do have a pair of 120 centimeter enclosures that houses 2 blue tongue skinks. Their names are Bo and Billy. Their setups are pretty much identical. So in their enclosures, we have the aspen bedding as a substrate, food bowl, water bowl, backing, the UVB LED light bar. There's a proper hide in there from the go into, a rock as well to help with their nails. The only difference is Bo has a heat element while Billy has a heat mat. But apart from that, pretty much the same setup. Here's a close-up on Bo, who is a very laid-back blue tongue. Now, he will just sit there and watch the world go by, and when I do get him out, he just hangs around and relatively just chills out with me. So he's a very, very cool dude. Billy, on the other hand, he isn't as laid back. She likes to cause a bit of trouble and become, I guess, the little tornado of the family. Very cheeky and very mischievous blue tongue. But saying that, she's still cute. And as you can see, she's very healthy. Just next door to Billy, we have Aurora, who is a little diamond python. She's doing exceptionally well, smashing food, and constantly want to come out. Even though she's okay for the cage she's in, I might have to think of upgrading her soon. She's currently housed in a 60 centimeter enclosure. So in her enclosure, we have the aspen bedding as a substrate, a couple of branches for her to climb onto, a water bowl, a hide. There is a heat pad underneath the enclosure where the hide is, a backing, and being a diamond python, they do require UVB, which we have one of those in the enclosure. From one 60 centimeter enclosure to another, we have Pedro set up. We'll get to Pedro in a moment. So we have these aspen bedding as a substrate, food bowl, water bowl, a couple of hides, a branch, a couple of fake plants in the enclosure. Our backing I incorporated a cave system into, which Pedro really loves. He's also got his heat and he's got his light on top of the enclosure to give him his day and night cycle. So, Pedro here is a pink tongue skink. So he's a nocturnal species, much like Sui. He'll come out during the night time and does his thing, and then during the day he just sleeps. If I wake him up during the day like I did here, he does get a bit upset, so best leave him alone. Then we have his neighbour. Now this is Thumper. Thumper here is a Gidgee skink. Now Gidgee skinks are normally quite shy. This one isn't. He will come out and try to bully me. He used to be quite a sweetheart, but now he's just a menace to society, so So Thumper's enclosure is another 60 centimeter enclosure. So we've got sand as a substrate, fake rock stack that he really likes to kind of wedge himself into. We do have a hide in there too, just to give him some extra security. Food bowl, water bowl, his backing, heat, and UVB. To the other side of the reptile room, we have Monty and Anastasia, who are my 2 shingleback skinks. They are housed in a 120 centimeter enclosure. In their enclosure, we've got the aspen bedding, food bowl, water bowl, 2 hides for them to go into, backing, heat, and UVB. Moving on to the lizards themselves. Here we have Monty, who is the male shinglebait skink. Monty's quite shy, he tends to sleep a lot, and when I'm trying to pick him up and interact with him, he gets quite shy, and oftentimes he'll try to poo and pee on me. Sometimes he's successful, other times he fails. Then we have his girlfriend, Anastasia, who's also having a nap. Pretty much a common thing with shinglebacks is eat, sleep and repeat. With Anastasia here, she's more accepting of their head scratches, being held, and let roam around the room a little bit, as long as the dog isn't around. Now above Monty and Anastasia, we have the diva of the reptile room named Akko, and no, she's not being housed with the Gibson war dragons. She will stay in this cage, as she's quite a special girl. She is a female Eastern war dragon, and she's going through a shed at the moment, so she's kind of patchy at the moment, but still a very beautiful girl. Akko is housed in a 140 centimeter enclosure, so in her enclosure we've got coconut fibre as a substrate, a hide, 2 branches as a stump for her to sit on, got her backing, heat and UVB, a fake plant, a couple of rocks in the enclosure, a couple of ornaments, her food bowl and water bowl. We have to give her a smaller water bowl because she is getting old and she almost drowned her last one, so we don't want to lose Akko. But above Akko, we do have another 140 centimeter enclosure, this time housing Dusty, my black Anemona. We have sand as a substrate, multiple hides, fake plants, branches, heating UVB, backing, and a croc skull in there to decorate Dusty's enclosure. Speaking of the devil, here he is. Now, Dusty being a black Anemona, they are quite a shy species, so he likes to hide in this log here, all up in the light there. Now, his favourites are superworms and fuzzy mice. He doesn't touch crickets nor woodies, but saying that he is quite happy and healthy for a black Anemona. Onto a pair of Cunningham skinks. This one we're looking at now is a meat lug, a very shy little thing. Now, every time I go trying to pick him up, he'll try and turn and bite me. So he's not really a friendly Cunningham, but Toothless here is a very friendly Cunningham. So Toothless here was raised from a baby, so he's used to being handled and whatnot. Still shy, but at least he doesn't bite me like meat lug does. Now, with the Cunningham skinks, they are both housed in their own 60 centimeter enclosures. In the enclosures, we've got their bedding, a fake rucksack that they can go into and hide into, a proper hide from the retreat into, UVB light bars, food bowl and water bowl. That's pretty much the setup in a nutshell. Below the Cunningham skinks, we have the Sheo skinks. So the 50 centimeter enclosure on the top right there houses a trio of Sheo skinks. Then the 6 other black ones you see there are 30 centimeters. That houses 1 Sheo skink in each of them. Otherwise, we're going to their setups, they're pretty much identical. So let's have a closer look at one of the enclosures and go through it. With the Sheoaks, their substrate is coconut fibre and sphagnum moss. Now I do wet the sphagnum moss down in the small section of the coconut fibre, as these guys do like to burrow into somewhere where it's a bit more damp and cooler. Got a food bowl, water bowl, hides or a bit of bark depending on the setup. And there's a heat cord that runs through the back part of these enclosures to provide warmth for them. And they have UVB on top as well. Let's have a closer look at all these Sheoaks as they have their own little characteristics. So the one we're looking at now is Will. Now Will here is a very hungry little Sheoak skink. You can give him a mountain of food and he'll just demolish it. Saying that too, he's a very handsome or beautiful Sheoak skink. We don't know the genders, but that doesn't matter. Next door to Will, we've got Jack. Unfortunately, Jack, when he was little, he lost half his tail during a fight. I do believe it was between him and Barbosa. So since there was a couple of fights, I decided to separate all the baby Sheoaks. That way we don't have any more dramas. Then we have Barbosa, who's the other mischievous bugger. He's pretty chill out. He would like to come out and just explore. With Jack before, by the way, he likes to bite me. Barbosa, doesn't bite me at all. He likes to hang out with me. Then we have Davey, who's a very shy, secretive little guy. He was getting more confident. It's good to see him out today. Normally I have to go digging for him, but he's quite shy for a little Sheoak. This beautiful Sheoak now we're looking at, his name is Pearl. Now Pearl is a very light coloured Sheoak skink. Unfortunately the camera doesn't really pick up on it, but she has some nice orangey reds going through her as well. She isn't too bad. She's another Sheoak skink that loves her food. Then her neighbour is Pearl, a smaller Sheoak skink who got into a fight with Elizabeth as well. So unfortunately she's another one who lost her tail, at least a small part of her tail when they were little. But saying that, she's recovering well and eating just fine. She's a bit more shy though. Onto the trio of Sheoak skinks. So this one we're looking at here, his name is Gum. A very sweet little Sheoak skink. Doesn't mind to be handled and whatnot. And overall is a very gentle one at that. Unlike another Sheoak who we get to in a moment. Here are the other two Sheoak skinks who make up the trio. Now we have Jara, who's the long skinny one there, a very sweet Sheik as well, very much like Gum. Then you got Ghost. Ghost just straight up hates me. Every time I get too close to him, he will bite me. Don't get me wrong, it's funny as, but I'm like, dude, chill out, you know, I'm not going to hurt you. But those are all the Sheik skinks. We also do have a couple of geckos in the family. Their names are Charcoal and Luna. They're a pair of eastern spotted-tailed geckos. The one we're looking at right now is Charcoal. He's a very secretive little gecko. Doesn't like to be handled. He'd rather much be left alone. He'll come out during the night time and get his crickets, but he's not really much of a big eater. He's more of lean and mean. Onto his girlfriend or partner in crime. This is Luna. She's the female. Now, she's searches food constantly. I can give her 10 small crickets and she'll just eat them. Very adventurous little gecko. Doesn't mind being picked up and handled from time to time. But when she's in the mood, she likes to jump and leap and cause me heart attacks because such a small gecko, I don't want to lose her. They are housed in these 30 centimeter tubs. So in their enclosures, we do have the sand as a substrate. There's a heap pad on the shelf, by the way. Water bowl, branches, and a hide for them. With the case with Luna, she has a bit of fake plant in there. Just add a bit of coloration and decoration in her enclosure. But those are the geckos. Now making our way into the snake room, and for this segment we will be starting with Willow and Diablo. Before we get to those two beautiful snakes, let's have a closer look at the enclosures. Willow and Diablo are housed in 77 enclosures. In the enclosures we've got the aspen bedding, a couple of hides, a water bowl, fake plants, branches, and a backing to incorporate a cave system into. As well, there's a light strip that goes through the room, basically lighting up the enclosures. And onto one side of the enclosures underneath we do have the heat pads as well. We will be starting with Willow. Now Willow here is a female brown tree snake. Now in her enclosure she can be quite cage defensive, and unfortunately if you walk past her enclosure and spook her, she will strike out and hit the glass. Something I'm trying to avoid, but it is what it is. She's currently in shed at the moment, but saying that, she's still eating when she's not in shed. When I do get her out of her enclosure, she is still a bit whippy, but we're working with that. Then this is her polar opposite, Diablo. Now, the only thing devil about him is his name. Temperament-wise, he's very friendly. I can get him out, hold him. Even my friends and family can hold him without him striking and biting. And if I really wanted to, I can hand feed him. He's very sweet in that regard, so he's a very good brown tree snake. Housed underneath Diablo, we have Valentino. Here is a little children python. He is an absolute menace, this one. Now, it doesn't matter if they're trying to pick up his poop, shed, do his water bowl, or just do any kind of maintenance or enclosure, he will actively set up an ambush. Now he knows when I put him in the feed tub that means food. He just likes biting me, the little bugger. Then here we have his neighbour. Now this is Caesar, who is a male blonde spotted python. He isn't as bad as he once was. He is getting much more friendlier. Beforehand he used to be quite a cranky snake who will actively bite me. These days he's more shy now, so hopefully he's warming up to me. But he's doing pretty well. In the case of Valentino and Caesar, they are both housed in their own 67 enclosures. In the enclosures, we do have their bedding, water bowl, hides, branches for these two to climb onto, with their fake plants, backing, a light strip that they both share as well. They have their own separate heat pads as well. Down on the bottom of this shelving unit, we have a 127 enclosure that houses my ridge tub monitor, Roseu. So in his enclosure, we've got the sand as a substrate, a fake rock stack, we've got his hide, branches, fake plants, water bowl, heat and UVB. Here is a cheeky little mongrel here, doing exceptionally well. Today, when I was filming, it was feeding day, so he's a bit more inquisitive, waiting to see what I had for food. And this week, it was crickets. So I'll usually give him sometimes pinky mice, sometimes I give him superworms, and today it was crickets on the menu. From our smallest monitor lizard to our largest, we have Ray. Now Ray here is a Rosenberg monitor. As you can see, he's having a couple of rats today for dinner. Now Ray, he's doing better with his handling. There was still a couple of times where he almost got me, but he's getting much better. When it warms up again, he will be upgraded to a bigger house. At the moment, he's currently housed in a 187 enclosure. In his enclosure, we've got sand as a substrate, water bowl, a branch, hammock, backing, fake plant, as well as a large hide for him to go into and sleep into if he wishes. As well, he's got his UVB and his heat element as well. Above Ray, we do have another 187 enclosure, this time housing my black-headed python and Chris. Now with Chris's setup, we do have the aspen bedding as a substrate. As you can tell, it's my favourite substrate. We've got her heat, a display lamp, backing, 2 very large hides in her enclosure as she's a pretty big girl, her branch, fake plant, and water bowl. Now with Chris here, when there's no food around, she's very sweet, very gentle, being such a large snake. But as soon as you get food out, she becomes a very different beast. And trust me, she's an absolute handful, or even more, when she's in food mode. So when I feed her, I better stay on my toes. Otherwise, if I get complacent, she will hit me like a ton of bricks. So getting bitten by her is not fun. Above Chris, we do have a breeding pair of children pythons. This beautiful girl we're looking at right here, her name is Erin. A very sweet children's python. She will come out, accept the cuddles. Even when I go to feed her, she's very gentle when she takes her food. However, she eats her rat very quickly. Onto the very protective boyfriend. This is Emma. Now, Emma here can be quite territorial towards me if I disturb Erin. Doesn't matter getting her out to feed her, to handle her, or just to get even clips of her. If I muck around with her too much, he'll come over and sort me out. Very hard-hitting snake when it comes to food, and he is the proud father of Valentino. So these two are housed in a 1 meter enclosure. In their enclosure, we've got the bedding, water bowl, a few hides in there, a fake rucksack as well to kind of give the enclosure more character, a couple of branches, backing, heat, a light strip, and a couple of fake plants as well. This part kind of sucks for me because this is the first time in 10 years that I haven't included Superstar in the video. Superstar was my first ever reptile, and unfortunately she passed away on Good Friday this year, so the last month has been kind of tough to carry on without her. As 16 years it's just gone like that, so it's been tough. So Graham is now the sole snake in this enclosure. It is a 90cm enclosure that has the hides, substrate, branches, pretty much everything the way I left it with Superstar there. He's Graham now. Unfortunately, for the last couple of weeks, she has been looking for her friend, and I think she's slowly realising that she's gone. Graham's still eating, still doing things as normal, but at the moment, I think both her and I are a bit still lost and a bit shattered from the passing of Superstar. Making our way to the other side of the room, we do have a pair of 127 enclosures to go through. The one we're looking at now is Chappie and Orchid's enclosure. So with Chappie here, he might have respiratory infection again, so I might have to move these guys somewhere else, as wherever this area here is just not working for them. So we have the aspen bedding as a substrate, 2 hides, a couple of branches, fake plants, light strip, heat element, and their water bowl. Onto the 2 cheeky snakes themselves. Here is Orchid. She's still relatively healthy, nothing wrong with her, smashing food and being a sweet girl when there's no food around, but when she's thinking of food, yeah, she's another snake I've got to watch out for, but she's still a beautiful girl regardless. Here is a poor bugger. So Chappie, he did eat not too long ago, but I think his RI has flared up again, so he may need to go back to the veterinarian to get more antibiotics. I am thinking of moving these two to somewhere different, because where they've been, it's just been problematic for Chappie, so got to sort out sooner or later. Down below Chappie and Orchid, we do have Atrum, who's another snake who's been going through some bad luck. Now, when this video does go out, it will be a day or so after he's had an operation. That lump on his head needs to be removed. It's either operation or put him to sleep, and I don't want to give up on him. So that is where we're at. He's currently housed in a 127 enclosure, newspaper as his bedding, a couple of hides, water bowl, branches that I might have to take out after his operation so he doesn't undo his stitches if he does have them. And he does have UVB, being a diamond python, as well he's got his heat as well. So that lump right there is a big concern. So hopefully it's nothing and he'll be just fine. Finally, we're on to the last enclosure of this Reptile update. This is my outdoor enclosure for my Gibson war dragons. This is 180 centimeters by 90 by 90, made out of aluminium framing and tubing. We have a couple of wooden boards there that helps me get in and out of the enclosure when needed. And also we do have the wire mesh as well to keep them in, of course. As well, there's a couple of tarps over the enclosure just to provide some shade from the hottest part of the day. A couple of fans in there to provide airflow. But let's have a closer look of the inside of the enclosure. So inside the enclosure, we do have a hot box. So even though these guys are more cold tolerant, I do provide a bit of heating in the hot box for these guys, even though they don't really use it. We've got these foam backings, hammocks, we've got branches, a couple of hides, food bowl, a couple of rocks here to help them get in and out of the water bowl here. Now, unfortunately, it is a plastic container with a bit of pond liner, as the container did crack. So I basically had to line it with a pond liner, so these guys had water basically. In this enclosure, we do have 4 girls and 1 boy. So the first girl we're looking at here is Lime. Now, Lime is actually the mother to Tinsel and Belle, who we saw at the beginning of the video. She's very more calm and collected little water dragon. She can be shy at times, and there are 2 other girls in this enclosure are pretty much very similar in her size. So this is one of the other girls here, Gamora. So with Lime, she has a missing toe on her left hand. Gamora here is in pretty good nick, but unfortunately with her, Lime and Bruce, they had nose rubs, so I had to change the wire mesh. That was a mission to redo. So Gamora here is a very shy, very secretive Gibson War Dragon. Then another girl around their size, her name is Jade. She doesn't have the nose rub, thank goodness. However, she does have a bit of a zigzag in her tail. So that's pretty much the only way I can tell those 3 girls apart, since they're so identical in looks. But there's one girl that is a bit more unique in her looks, and she is very unmistakable because of that. Here's our last female Gibson War Dragon. This is Shigo. As you can see, she is quite unique. She's the bigger girl out of the 4 we have. One thing I like about Shigo is she's more laid back, a bit more shy, and as well she does like the little heat pad I provided in the hot box for her. And then the other 4 like to slip in the water, which is a bit silly, so I might provide a heater in the pond for them. On to our last animal of the video. This is Bruce. Now Bruce is the male of the, I guess, 5 war dragons we have in this enclosure. Now with his injury to his snout there, when he first came to me, he had that originally. Made it a little bit worse on the wire mesh that I initially had installed. I've since then, of course, fixed that. But that'll be it for today's video, guys. Thank you all for watching this video, and I'll catch you all in the next video.